Today, I am revealing and explaining the top 10 easiest secondary VA claims. All right, let's explore this. A lot of vets come to me and say, Brian, what conditions am I eligible for secondary service connection? Okay, again, there's a whole bunch of them, there's hundreds of secondary conditions. But what I'm sharing today are the 10 easiest secondary VA claims to win. Okay, meaning you can actually get them service connected. Now, one thing I want you to do is when we're done here today, look in the description of this YouTube video because I'm giving away a free copy of my ebook that has over 100 secondary service connection claims. Okay, it's like think of it as like your definitive guide to secondary service connection. It's in the YouTube description. You can grab a copy. It's hundreds of pages long. I include medical research reports for each. I also include BVA decisions. Okay, so check it out. I think you're going to love it. All right. Now, real quick, before I jump into this, you need to know this, y'all. In order to prove secondary service connection, you need to submit a Nexus letter from a private provider with your disability claim. Now, the VA is not going to tell you, and you're not going to find anywhere that says you need to do it, okay? It's not required. But my recommendation is you absolutely do it. You know why? Because under the law, the third pillar for secondary service connection is something called medical nexus evidence. Okay, what that means, a nexus simply means link or connection. So you need to be able to prove a link or connection between your current disability and the disability you already have service connected that you're connecting it to, secondary. Okay, now you're going to need a private doctor to help you with this. If you need a Nexus letter for a secondary condition, we can help. All right, let's talk about the 10 easiest secondary claims. Number one, bruxism, secondary to a mental health condition and or tinnitus, right? The ringing in your ear. What the heck is bruxism? It's the grinding and the clenching of your teeth. These are medically linked to underlying mental health conditions, and it can also be associated with tinnitus, okay? Now, you can make your secondary claim stronger if you link bruxism secondary to a mental health condition and tinnitus. So, for example, bruxism secondary to PTSD and tinnitus would be an example. Okay, again, you need a Nexus letter, though. Number two, anything cause and effect related to secondary musculoskeletal conditions. Okay, let me give you an example. Let's say you have a service-connected ankle problem. Okay, maybe it's ankle pain rated at 10%. But because you've had to favor one side of your body because of the ankle pain, you now have problems with your knees. Okay, your knees can now be secondary to your ankles. Well, let's say your knees are now causing problems with your hips. Your hips can be secondary to your knees. Let's say your lower back was made worse by your hips. Your lower back can be secondary to your hips. Okay, so again, just be thinking about left side, right side body issues, right side, left side. If foot problems can cause hip problems, and hip problems can have back problems, and back problems cause neck problems, and your neck problems cause headaches. Okay, you just really need to take a personal inventory of your body and what's going on. So that's the second easiest secondary VA claim to win: cause and effect secondary musculoskeletal conditions. Number three, ED secondary to mental health conditions and or medication side effects. It is very well documented, y'all, that mental health issues, especially medications taken to manage symptoms of mental health, cause sexual problems, sexual dysfunction. So for men, erectile dysfunction is SMCK. It'll get you some extra compensation every month. I think it's around $120-ish a month. But if you have erectile dysfunction that's due to a service-connected mental health condition and or medications you're taking, file it. Okay, I highly recommend, though, you get a Nexus letter. So that's number three, ED. Number 4 and 5 are both related to GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease. Okay, now number 4 on our list of 10 is GERD, secondary to mental health conditions and medication side effects. What the heck is GERD? It's severe acid reflux. Okay, gastroesophageal reflux disease, medically linked to mental health conditions and medication side effects. Very common, very well known. Your claim will be even stronger if you link it to both mental health conditions and medication side effects. Number 5, GERD secondary to an orthopedic condition or secondary to migraines due to the use of NSAIDS. What the heck is that? Non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. That's what an NSAIDS is, okay? Now, GERD and migraines can both be influenced by orthopedic conditions in your body, as well as the use of some medication. So what the heck are some common medications, Brian? Well, things like ibuprofen, naproxen, aspirin. Okay, these are all very, very well-known medications that can cause or make your headaches or cause or make GERD worse. Okay, that's number 5. Number 6, irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, secondary to a mental health condition and medication side effects. This is similar to GERD. Okay, irritable bowel syndrome, absolutely medically linked to mental health conditions and medication side effects. Number 7, mental health conditions secondary to musculoskeletal conditions you have service connected and or physical pain. What the heck does this mean, Brian? Well, you can have a mental health condition or develop a mental health condition as a result of physical pain in your body or a musculoskeletal condition. Why? Well, let's think about this just for a second. Let's say, for example, that you've got chronic back pain, arthritis, fibromyalgia. So you have consistent chronic daily pain. That chronic pain can lead to things like anxiety, depression, frustration, helplessness, insomnia. And guys, guess what? All of those things contribute to mental health. All right. So be thinking about if you're suffering from physical pain and that physical pain is causing major impacts in your life, you're probably eligible for a secondary mental health condition connected to your service connected pain or physical conditions. Number 8, migraines secondary to mental health conditions and tinnitus. I want you to really think about this one. Okay. The days of the layup migraine secondary to tinnitus are over. Okay. So guess what? Make your case stronger by linking it to even more than that. I'll give you an example. Maybe you're suffering from service-connected anxiety or depression, and it's rated at 50%. Or service-connected PTSD is at 70%. And you also have service-connected tinnitus, the ringing in your ear, at 10%. You can file a claim for migraines or any type of headache secondary to mental health conditions and tinnitus, the ringing in your ear. Okay. Again, it's going to make it stronger because both have been medically linked to cause or make migraines worse, especially through principles of aggravation. Again, you need a nexus letter. For any secondary claim, y'all, you got to have a nexus letter. Number 9, sleep apnea as a secondary condition. Now, stay tuned because this is really important. Sleep apnea secondary to PTSD is difficult. The medical research is weak at best. Now, obstructive sleep apnea is especially linked to respiratory conditions. So things like sinusitis, rhinitis, deviated septum, asthma, those are much better links to the secondary condition than a mental health condition or PTSD. Okay, again, you need a nexus letter to do that. And last but not least, vertigo, secondary to a mental health condition and tinnitus. What the heck is vertigo? Y'all, if you're off balanced all the time and you got major issues in your inner ear, guess what? Those things are connected to mental health conditions as well as the ringing and buzzing in your ear. Okay, so don't forget about vertigo as a secondary claim. Now, the last thing to think about is if you think you have some of these conditions, you have to get them medically diagnosed before you file secondary. So let me give you an example. Let's say you think you have vertigo, spinning, dizziness, you have to lay down all the time. You probably do have vertigo. But if your vertigo's never been diagnosed, don't file a claim for it, whether it's a primary for direct service connection or secondary, until it's actually been diagnosed. Okay, so get your butt to the doctor. Now, again, if you need a secondary Nexus letter, Brian, I need a dang Nexus letter to help me prove secondary service connection. Can you help? Yes, we can. Okay. Now, if you join our #1 rated VA Claims Insider Elite program, where you start free, you can access a network of independent medical providers for Nexus letters and DBQs for 61 to 67% off the published price list. How are you able to do this, B? Because we get volume discounts, y'all. Okay. Take advantage of this. You can get started right here, right now at vaclaimsinsider.com. If we don't win, you don't pay, period. Okay. You can start for free right here, right now. All right. I hope you enjoyed this top 10 easiest secondary VA claims to win video. Thank you for your service to our country, your sacrifices. B. Reese, out from Austin, Texas. I love you all.